I'm Heather from Here Booktubes, and today is my August wrap-up. In the month of August, I did continue to kind of struggle with reading slumps. It's been like the whole year, but so in August, I read 27 books. I DNF'd 5 of them. Part of the reason why I always include this number as the number of books that I read at the beginning of the month is because I really feel like we should normalize counting our DNFs. I don't actually count them towards my Goodreads total for the reading challenge. At least I haven't this year, but like normalize DNFing. Do it anytime you feel like it. So because of that, I'm going to talk about 22 books. You might think that 22 books sounds like now the reading slump, but there was quite a few reading slumps. For me, a reading slump is just I'm not reading consistently and I'm not really enjoying what I'm reading and I'm just struggling to read, and the number of books that I read for the month really doesn't matter as far as that. It's really my overall enjoyment and consistency of reading. So while I did read 22 books, most of them were really short. Also in August, I continued to have quite a few 2-star reads. I don't know if this is just a mood thing or if this is going to be our new normal, our new base level, but here we are. First book, Talk Wordy to Me, His Curvy Librarian, #1 by Frankie Love. I gave this 2 stars. It was a cute novella, a librarian main character. Grandpa is part of the book club there at the library and he sets her up with his grandson. It wasn't great. I didn't feel anything for them. So it's supposed to be cute and funny. I felt that it fell a little flat. Then I read Vicious in Love by Cruz and Liz Fox. I gave this 4 stars. It was an over-the-top, alpha, possessive, older man, younger woman, age gap, boss, employee. It was mostly delightful. There were a few things in there that were very contrived for the plot, but I did kind of like it. It was the over-the-top alpha short fix that I needed. Then I read Brutal in Love, Possessing His Curves, #2 by Cruz. I think this was the second book, so I guess that one must have been Possessing Her Curves too. Possessing Her Curves, whatever. I gave this 3 stars. This was the head of security for the first guy and someone that he thinks is a spy. He's interviewing her. She's actually just applying her sisters, like dating the enemy. The plot holes in this book. The plot holes. I know it was a novella, but like the entire catalyst for the whole point of the book, the whole plot about whether she was a spy or not, never got explained why any of that would have even happened. Like it never got explained. It was so weird. Like supposedly, I'm gonna spoil it for you. You're not missing anything. I'm sure this wrap-up will go very well. Her sister, like, on purpose sent her to try and get information on the enemy, but she was literally, like, cheating on her boyfriend, who would have been the one that wanted the answers anyways. So it never got explained why she was trying to get answers at all. It made no sense. None at all. Then I read Evil Twin by Wilde. I gave this 5 stars. This is a fantasy romance novella. I loved it. I loved this one. So he is the younger twin. His brother is the king because he was born like 5 minutes earlier, and he's a twerp. He's worthless. We don't care about him. And then this guy is like the war hero. He's the one that's like trying to preserve lives, and every time he's given an inane order, he does his best to minimize the damage, and he has a lot of loyalty amongst, you know, the soldiers and stuff. His brother is going to marry this princess and get both kingdoms, and his plan is to seduce the bride because they're identical twins, and then they'll walk in on him and then he will get the princess, and his brother can keep their kingdom, but he'll rule the princess's kingdom. And that's kind of the whole setup, and it's so good. It's so good. It's funny. It's cute. There's not a lot of stress. There's definitely some tension, definitely like some good moments, but it was so well done. There was a very interesting discussion in this book about the difference between being nice and being kind, and I loved all of that. and I just found the whole thing humorous and adorable. And if you want those morally gray characters that are still very much good, if that makes sense, it was perfection. I adored it. Then I read Like Lovers Do, which is Girls Trip #2 by Tracey Livesay or Livesay. I gave this 3 stars. It was friends to lovers. She is a doctor and they're actually like housemates and have been for years. He has always had a thing for her. She really didn't know that, but it's not pining or anything. He's had multiple girlfriends while they've been living together and everything. But she has stuff go down with a rich, spoiled man at the hospital that she works at. So she's basically told, take a vacation. You're done in like a couple weeks anyways. You're transferring. Just take that time off and stay out of his way. Which, of course, was incredibly wrong, and she was super, super mad about it. She is Black, and there are some racist, not heavy racism, but some microaggressions from some characters. And definitely she felt like the stuff at the hospital wouldn't have happened if she had been a white man, etc. But there's also characters that on purpose say some things that are not okay. But so while this is going down, then he's supposed to be going on a trip with his friends and finds out that his ex-fiance is going to show up and is claiming that he wants her back and they're going to get back together, which he very much does not want. And it's been years since they were together, and so they fake date on the trip. My big annoyance with this book was, one, it was traditionally published, I think, and it was a little bit long. I felt like it was a little bit, you know, especially the beginning, slow start. But then all of their conflict was their trauma based on their parents' lives. And I just felt like that was very misplaced and unnecessary. I do get that, like, we're all formed by our experiences, right? But like, he didn't want to date a doctor because his parents never had time for him, even though like they've spent years getting to know each other. They know that how each other are. And she doesn't want to fall in love with maybe a rich guy? I don't remember. Whatever it is. Her dad left her and she's, you know, spent her life trying to prove that he was wrong to do so and taking care of her mom financially if she can. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like, and then there were some things that were wrapped up like so neatly. I'm like, you spent your whole life doing this wrong and now you're just like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me change. I didn't realize. I didn't buy it. I'm sorry. I really know everybody likes this one, but I was not impressed. Yeah, August didn't go well. Then I read Stolen Bride by Cassie Mint. Got this recommendation from Lisa, Remarkably Lisa. I gave it 2 stars. There's like a book that's first part of this, it's her sister. I didn't read it, but you get it very clearly in the beginning. Her sister was scarred and locked up in a tower by like their mafia dad. And then they switch places and her sister's going to do the arranged marriage that she's doing so that she can escape her father. And then the pretty twin stays behind and her father is going to like sell her off. And her bodyguard and her have always had like this thing, but they haven't acted on it, and he's older. And so he basically kidnaps her to save her from being sold by her dad. And all of the conflict was in their heads. And she was just like, he could never love me. It's fine. And I read Sweat and Soap Volume 1. I gave this 4 stars. This is a manga where she's super sweaty and he designs the soaps for the company that they work at, and she loves all the soaps and he loves how she smells, and they have a romance. In this first volume, she was so insecure. So insecure. And that really just annoyed me. But I still gave it 4 stars. I still enjoyed it, even though I was just like, get your act together. Second volume, I also gave 4 stars. She looks, I know it's the artist, but she looks so uncomfortable in all of the intimate scenes that it's like hard to enjoy it because she's just over there like, I don't, like frozen up with like her shoulders up around her. Like, I'm like, what is happening right now? So the second volume, their relationship progresses. I would say they get a little bit more comfortable with each other. She wants it to stay hidden. He's like the superstar of the company and he wants to tell everybody. But they make so many things about it, like, oh no, I can't do anything right now because, and it's like, if you would know this. You don't have to fully make out in the middle of your work just in order to spend time together. It was weird. Still enjoyed it though. Ignore my complaining. Then I read The Tea Dragon Society, which is Tea Dragon #1 by Kay O'Neill. This got put on Kindle Unlimited in August, and I was like, woo, amazing. So I gave it 5 stars. This was so good. Oh, I will say the manga and The Tea Dragon Society, I was able to read it on an iPad because my husband got an iPad, and the experience is a million times better than reading it on your phone or Kindle or any of those things. If you can read the illustrated ebooks like that, graphic of any sort, if you can read it on an iPad, it will be a million times better, just FYI. But The Tea Dragon Society is a children's, queer, inclusive, it has a lot of different representations, including disability, graphic novel. Each chapter is basically a different season. We have a little girl who has a blacksmithing magic. Her mom is like a blacksmith, but then she also meets these people who are taking care of tea dragons, and it is literal tea dragons. So one is ginseng, and one is jasmine, and one is one jasmine? I don't know. But you know, they're different types of tea. And they literally grow on the dragons. They're like little and they live thousands of years, and they bond with the caretaker, and there's just not very many caretakers left. So it's her and another little girl who had like prophecies or something and now can't remember anything and is there, and it's just so cute. The art is gorgeous. There's so many pretty florals and designs. I just really, really loved it. I actually read it out loud to my oldest son, which was not planned. I was literally going to start reading it, and he came in and laid beside me, and so I read it to him. And that was really enjoyable. So cute, so well worth it. I've been hearing people rave about it for a long time. I was waiting on it from the library, and Kindle Unlimited got it. It was a delight. I look forward to reading the other 2, I think, that are out. And I reread Set, which is Them Boys #1 by Alexandria House. I gave this 4 stars. I originally gave it 3. Upped it to 4. I actually enjoyed the sex scenes a lot more this time around for unknown reasons. I skipped all the stuff with her daughter because her adult daughter is like the worst. She's like so spoiled and just like slashing tires and throwing fits and threatening to quit her job. Like, yeah, not a fan of that behavior. But Set, I forgot like his like protectiveness and stuff. It's so cute. These are older main characters. They reconnect at their high school reunion, and they're like in their 40s or close to 40s. She might be 39 and he might be 41, something like that. So they reconnected 3 years ago, and they've kind of been not friends with benefits, but if we're in the same city as each other, then we are together. But we still live in separate cities, and he's like trying to convince her for more because she doesn't want to get married, he doesn't want to get remarried, and so they're just enjoying each other as they are. And then he loves her and doesn't know how to tell her, and it's so cute and so precious, and they just worship the ground that each other walks on. Is true adoration, and it's just a really, really beautiful, cute couple that I love. Then I read The Good Girl by Jack Harbin under the pen name Shiloh Clark. I read this as an arc. I gave this 3 stars, so I could not get over this. Listen, so this girl, I don't remember how old she is, fairly young, early 20s maybe. Her fiance, oh my god, it's all coming back to me. Her fiance runs up a 6-figure debt with these people who are like threatening her and harassing her to try and get payment out of him. And he's like not taking it seriously at all. He has a rich dad who could just make it go away, and he doesn't want to ask him because pride. In the meantime, his fiance is getting harassed, and so she's mad at him, and he's mad that she's mad, and it's a whole mess. And I'm like, girl, leave him. What are you doing? So her solution for this is when this man tells her that there is an auction and she can make all this money, then she just shows up and she's like being all tough and stuff, and she's like, you know, how will I know it's safe and everything? And they're like, you'll have the bodyguard will be there, there's cameras and stuff. But literally she's just taking these people's word for it. She doesn't know them from Adam, and they are operating an auction ring for sex, and you're just like all of her safety net was just taking them at their word. I'm like, girl, have you ever heard of sex trafficking? What are you doing? Like, I could not get over it. I was just like, the stupidity. What are you doing? I would literally leave town and leave the fiance behind before I went this route. Like, why? You're gonna die. You're gonna die. No. But she does it anyways, and it's an auction, and she's told that she can make enough money to clear the debt, which is like $100,000. Well, she only gets half of the money that's bid on her, right? And things are kind of getting a little bit out of control, not like super out of control, but like she was told that she won't be touched or anything, and people have kind of like fell her up. And so she's very uncomfortable. And then this guy that like never bids $100,000. And everybody's like, oh, so much, right? So it's like a super high bid that she wins. And they're like shocked that she got that much, and it's still only half the money that she needs. So I was like, so why did you do this? I mean, $50,000 is really good, don't get me wrong, but it like didn't cover her debt or anything. And they didn't even think she would get that much. Dumb. I don't know what to tell you. This guy buys her for the night or whatever, and it's just like a mutual masturbation scene, which was good. And then he offers to give her the rest of the money if she'll like be on call for him for the next month or so. She's still with the fiance, and she's seeing this guy, and the wedding's in like 3 weeks or something ridiculous. The fiance finds out, is like, I'll marry you for appearances and then we'll get divorced in 6 months. I'm just like, dude, whatever, you're hurt, whatever. You have no room to talk right now. Literally, she's cleaning up your debt that you did nothing to try and help. Don't talk to me. And then the guy that she's seeing that paid for her is like mad that she's choosing to still get married to the fiance. And then there's like this whole thing at the wedding rehearsal. And then it's so messy. It's so messy. Oh my God. And the fight between her and the fiance, low blows. They were going for blood. And I was just reading with my eyes wide open like, wow, we really went for it. It was good. I just felt like everybody was making dumb decisions, and I was like, what are you doing? And again, sex trafficking, don't do that. And it's, I even hesitate to like have that gripe because I suspend my disbelief so much for all these things, right? That was literally like just all I could think about. Like, what are you doing? This is not safe. You have no safety net at all. At all. You're taking the people who are trying to make money off of you at their word. How does that make sense? It didn't. Moving right along, then we have the books that I read for the Dark Romance Readathon. So I read Rebel Bitten, which is Blood Alliance #4 by Lexi Foss, 5 stars. It was so good. Rebel Vampire, who has now ascended to royalty because he's like, you're not putting another moron in charge of me. And then there's the Evil Vampiress, that is the goddess, that she's actually a pretty young vampire that, you know, is ruling society, and she plays a big part in this book. Then our main character is a human who just escaped the lichen breeding farms and was repeatedly raped, and it's horrific. It's not on page, as alluded to. You get tiny snippets. She was best friends with the main characters from books 2 and 3. This rebel vampire finds her basically in death's door and is interested because she's literally dying and she still tried to take him out. It's their romance. He's really good to her, while also lots of like choking and stuff. It was great. It did move the overarching plot forward in this book quite a bit, and that was good times. Then I read First Comes Blood, which is Promise and Blood by Lilith Vincent. I gave this book 4 stars as a reverse harem mafia book. She is 17. She's 18 when they start having sexual relations. But she's 17, finds out that she has to marry one of these men. A tragedy occurs. I guess the twist right away. Then it's her romance, but like she's so naive and they don't even like her. They're like so mean to her. And there was a lot. Every prompt, every scavenger hunt prompt for the Dark Romance Readathon, which again, the scavenger hunt was inspired by Hoathon, they were all fulfilled in First Comes Blood. And the second book does come out this month. I am looking forward to it. But overall, I did guess every single twist. I was like, you guys are so mean, and she's so young and stupid. So next, I read Run Posey Run by Kate C. Wells. I gave this book 5 stars. This is a literal psychopath mafia money man. He does not feel for anybody, and he finds out that his girlfriend has cheated on him. It's actually revenge porn that was taken years ago, but timestamp was changed, so he kicks her out of the house and then just finds that he can't concentrate, that he doesn't like that she's gone, and still not feeling any feelings for her. And the language from his point of view about her at the beginning very much shows that like he was not attached to her in an emotional love way, but he's just like, this is annoying, I want her back. And so then he tries to get her back, and there's a cat and mouse game. Then he does get her back, and he wants everything to go back to normal, but with her knowing that he's a psychopath. And she's like, you're a psychopath, things aren't going back to normal. And he commits some violence against some enemies in front of her. It's really good. It's kind of him going from a psychopath to a sociopath. So he cares about her and like nobody else. And in the epilogue, there is a very realistic labor scene to deliver their child. And I just kind of found that to be amusing. In such an over-the-top book, it actually gave a super accurate labor description. I always kind of enjoy when they get it right. I really liked him. I really liked her. It was just a very interesting juxtaposition between him having no emotions and her being way too emotional and always picking the wrong man and letting them do whatever because she wanted love. And just really good. I really look forward to reading another book by the author. This was originally read by Katie Robert and then Izzy and then Naima. I read it. I loved it also. Then I read Awaken the Dragon, The Legion #1 by A.C. Arthur. This was it wasn't even a recommendation from Vina from his WOC reader. She just like posted on Twitter that she was reading it for a readathon. And I was like, oh, my library has that. So I read it. I gave it 3 stars. It's a black love paranormal romance between a dragon and like a demigoddess. And I felt like there was a lot of issues with the plot and kind of the world building overall, which I don't need a lot of world building. I very much like it to be focused on the couple. Like if you tell me that he's a vampire, I don't need, you know, all the lore of the vampires. Okay, cool, he's a vampire. Does he like you or not, right? So I don't need a lot of world building for that. I do like focus on the couple, but even the couple, like they had communication issues. Things were going down and she was like, no, I'm going for a walk, I'm mad at you. And I'm like, literally, does nobody see the flashing red lights indicating a security breach? What are we doing? Yeah, I just, overall, the plot execution just really fell flat for me, and the couple wasn't interesting enough to raise it or save it above that. Then I read A Questionable Client, which is Kate Daniels 0.5 by Alona Andrews. I gave this 4 stars. I read it in Mall Magics, which is kind of a bind up of several of their novellas and current POVs for the Kate Daniels series. This novella is Kate meeting Seaman. We're gonna go with Seaman, who is a main character throughout the series. He can shift his body to look like anybody. And it's Kate working for the Mercenary Guild, the Guild, and playing bodyguard to Seaman, and she does not like playing bodyguard. But it's their meeting. It was very short. Then I read Seducing a Savage, which is Foss Big novella series by B. Love. I gave this 4 stars. This is a contemporary black love. It's friends to lovers. They were best friends when they were teenagers. But he was 18 and she was 13. And so when he went off to college, he really didn't talk to her again after that. And they both have heart issues, and they are both owners of their own companies and have both been workaholics a little bit. He just had a stroke. He's in his early 30s. He just had a stroke because he's working himself into the ground, and his mom wants him to come home. And before he comes home, because he hasn't been home for forever, she tells his old best friend that he's had a stroke and he's coming home, and can you try and show him work-life balance? Because she also had a health scare and fixed her work-life balance, and while she owns a very successful skincare and hair care company, she isn't working all day every day. So I really liked the couple a lot. I felt like some of their communication issues could have been skipped, but it was fine. I thought that their conflicts were very interesting. Again, B-Love often, she has them start being in a relationship with somebody else. So the book opens to him having sex with somebody else and then her having sex with somebody else, but hers is her boyfriend, but is less than consensual. She tells him no, he tries to do it anyways, and then she breaks up with him because of it. Because that's on page, if that would be a trigger for you, do be aware that that does happen in like the very first or second chapter when it's her point of view. The rest of the book is really, really sweet and cute, and I enjoyed them as a couple. Then I read Sweat and Soap Volume 3. I gave this 5 stars, and this one we got confidence. Both of them actually got confidence in their relationship and that they don't have to worry so much about each other and how each other feels because they are in this together. But she especially got more confidence, and there was progression of their relationship. I enjoyed it. Next I read Amari and the Night Brothers, which is Supernatural Investigations #1 by B.B. Alston. I think I've been saying his name without the L, but there is an L in there, Alston. And I gave this 4 stars. This is a middle grade fantasy, or maybe urban fantasy, because you've got the contemporary world and you have this magical world that the real world doesn't know exists. And her older brother has gone missing, and everyone just thinks that he got involved with something that he shouldn't because they're black and they live in the poorer part of town and they're surrounded by gang activity, and even their mom is not sure what to believe, but he was investigating magical things and went missing, and now he has left a nomination for his sister to join the magical school, and is her really trying to find out about her brother more so than her trying to learn magic. She wants to find out what happened to her brother. This is obviously meant for children. I just really struggled to pick it up. There were some things where like the mom behavior felt off, and I know it probably because I'm a mom, and if I were reading from the perspective of a child, which is who the book is written for, these things would probably not bother me, but as a mom I was bothered. But overall, really cute. Would recommend for children in that age range, and I thought that he pulled it off well. Then I read Magic Bites, which is Kate Daniels #1 by Ilona Andrews. I gave this book 5 stars. This is definitely the weakest book in the series. I had forgotten so many things that happen during the course of the series, rather being what we start with. So reading this first book after so long, I haven't read it in like 3 years, and I just finished the series in July. So going back and starting something that I had not read for a long time right after I saw how it ended, even the characters that are in it for the whole series, I barely recognized because they're also immature, and there's so much growth that happens to, I feel like, every single character in this series, that I was so surprised at some of the ones that annoyed me so much, or I was like, no, this is all your fault. And even like my favorite characters, I was like, what are you doing? Because in the later books, they wouldn't make those mistakes. They've had so much growth, and also they've grown so close to each other, and right now they don't trust each other or know each other at all. And it was just very, very entertaining and interesting to see the difference going from the end all the way back to the beginning, when I hadn't read the beginning in so long. So in this book, we have Kate Daniels. She is a member of the Mercenary Guild. She does jobs, and she had a pretty bad relationship with her guardian. She finds out that her guardian is dead, and he was really powerful. It would have been difficult to kill him. And so she goes to find his murderer. Because of that, she joined this group that she had kind of been a part of before, but really didn't want to have anything to do with. Her guardian wanted her to be part of the group, and she didn't because rules, and she didn't like it. And she's trying to find out who murdered him. On the path of trying to find out who murdered him, she meets Curran, the Beast Lord, the Lord of the Shifters of Atlanta, and they clash. And I forgot how much they clash. Oh my god, I remembered like their first meeting. It's iconic for the Kate Daniels series. But then I forgot all of the things that happened in this book, where it was like the two of them not getting along, not happy with each other, literally being like, you can choke and die. Don't come to me for help. And I was just like, oh my God, I forgot about all of this. I also forgot about quite a few other characters. Derek is so young and cocky. Jim, I kind of remembered how he was. And Doolittle, things with him surprised me. There was just quite a bit that I forgot. And then I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. I'll have to ask. Nick, too, also surprised me. I realize if you haven't read the book, none of those names mean anything to you. But just know, if you read this book and you're like, I don't know how much I like these characters, etc., I would really, really recommend that you keep going because the growth is substantial. And I do really feel like this is the weakest book in the series, even though I still very much enjoyed it. And then I read Curran's POV 1 and 2, which is Curran's point of view of a couple of scenes in Magic Bites where they interact. The first one is Unicorn Lane, which is their meeting. And the second one is Fernando's, which is a restaurant where they run into each other. They're by Gordon Andrews, so he's the husband in the husband-wife duo that is Alona Andrews. He wrote the Curran's POV by himself, and I gave them both 5 stars. They're very short, like just a few pages, because they're literally the same scene that happened in the book, but just from his perspective. But I did find them super enjoyable. It's also very interesting to see kind of what he thought about Kate at the very beginning. And yeah, I loved it. And that's it. That's all the books that I read in August. Here's hoping September goes better. There were definitely some books that I really enjoyed in August, but overall it was kind of a meh reading month for me, and I had a lot of reading struggles, so I'm hoping we'll get on the uptick here in September. But thank you so much for watching. Bye.